The topic today is the maneuverability of the program system in the State Department. And I know that that's unequated with the Federal Reserve funding. And what I want to say is that the best thing for Biden to do is to consider what I submitted by way of Special Forces, which is to document the need and submit it to the um, the developmental department of NASA's Global Defense. And what we're going to do is to release war funds to prep regarding the engagements, surrounding Alaska, and in efforts to secure my safety, because we know that Putin is upset about the Romanov, and he loves the Romanov family, and he knows that I am a Romanov, and I got my clearance codes from Interpol, Russia. The biggest havoc that we've had was over huddling, shall I say, my mother's Secret Service rights, because we're both in Secret Service. I'm Secret Service for Ronald Reagan administration, and that's there for 150 years for me and my family, whom don't go abroad to do further efforts like in Africa or something, because we have to declare Ronald Reagan's rights to defense on his signatures on acts and his reputation. So that's highly important. But right now there's a need in the State Department to maneuver programs, and what that means is to how do I explain this? You know how you have a jar of sediment and dirty water, and you go to figure out what the problem is, and it looks clear on top, and you have to shake it up, and that means you have to take both hands, and you have to reach around and make sure that the lid is tight, and then you have to shake it up, and then you need a panel to look and adjudicate or justify, and they're two different things. And that adjudication is to take a legal process, I'm going to say, legal process, instead of prosecution, legal process in developing an alleviance or a relief for the actions of those involved. And then you need, that's adjudication, and then you need or what did I say? Adjudication, and the other, I'm sorry, I was giving you a definition. Adjudication is to judge, and the other is to justify. That's right. To justify, which means you need to turn and say, okay, these are the reasons why we believe policy or civil procedure, why it was done this way, or military policy, why it was done this way. And you don't know what the problems were until you shake it up, and I rise and say, hey, here's all the problems, because I've been down in the sediment, and I know what's there. And the problem is shaking it up. You don't want the wrong things to surface. You want someone to float to the top and say, hey, stop shaking, let me out, let me tell you what to do. So in order to shake, which is what we've already done, now it's to maneuver the programs that we have into play together. So you need a adjudication panel to make sure that no laws are being broken while you adhere to a plan. And you have to go in and smite the irreverent. And that means those who have gone cross the line and have done something that is shameful. Mishandling is a really good word. Mishandling, not mistake. Mishandling of authority. I didn't say abuse. We're not trying to re-justify a reconstruct of a policy that is there for a reason. I'm telling you that some people maybe shouldn't be there, and that's because they have membership to a hate group. And my plan was to do something simple, and I submitted it to Governor Brown, and it got smacked back at me, which is a secondary signature line in all licensing. It's quick, easy, and painless. Thou shalt not belong to a hate group. Nobody likes hate groups. They're illegal. They cause death. They cause maiming. They cause they cause problems they mishandle the judicial system. They go in and lie, bang, bang, bang. Write the order. I'll kill you. And those are the things that we don't want. It's very simple. Driver's license, business license, lawyer's license, food distribution license, medical license. You sign it. Okay, now I refuse to be a part of, or I denounce from here forth being part of a hate group, and nor can I administer my rights under these licensing agreements or to practice my method of service or what have you, to provide service for someone who is actively participating in unlawful paramilitary activity for a hate group. What's wrong with that? There isn't anything wrong with it. The problem is that people don't want to change. And that's the problem. If you don't want to change, get out of politics. Because what are you there babysitting? Because I'm an adult and I have yet to find a politician smarter than myself, and I have yet to find a politician smarter than my children, and I have yet to find a politician smarter than my grandchildren, and I think we all feel that way justifiably. Because you went to the same schools, you've breathed the same air, you've walked the same earth, we've eaten the same food. You haven't come up with anything that I haven't come up with. You haven't fought a harder fight than I've fought. You haven't justifiably gifted anything to the public. All you've done is policy protect. And that's not your job. Your job is to administer, distribute, division territorially, or reorganize for the safety of the judicial system or the people, because there is an ebb and flow in society. And those acts are good for a period of 3 to 5 years, then they need to be reviewed, because we have an economical issue, we have pandemonium, we have I'm sorry, I'm losing my English. We have epidemics, we have issues in society, we have overthrowing of school overthrowing of hospital. We have overthrowing of um, truck drivers. And what do I mean by that? Is that the administrators or the presidents of the unions personal agenda changes, and everybody knows that unions aren't far off than.
We need to lower the voice, ma'am, please.
Okay, thank you. Isn't far off than mafia, and that means we have to um, protect the people before we protect the rights of the president in the organization. In order to do that, we need the systems in the State Department to work together and the judicial panel to protect the rights of the people and the key players in the process of slowing a runaway locomotive down. And with the activity that's politically and foreign relation fueled, which is why Russia showed up and China showed up in Alaska, um, is to tap into the war funds in order to support the change in the State Department, in order to make the issues in Alaska go away. I believe that the unregistered entry penetrated the quarantine of the nautical quarantine, which means military engagement, and that's enough to release the war funds. And being DEFCON, I'd sign it. But I'm signing the release of the money. We have enough money to deal with Russia right now, but they're there because of the issues in the State Department, and they have rights because we are a melting pot here, and that means they have hockey players here, and they have Romanov here, and they have Peace Coalition members here. So in order to alleviate the issue, we need to release the funds so that the programs, you can get a network of people to manipulate the programs. You need an overseer, state controller, pull in some interns from the colleges, 3rd and 4th year, poli-sci, maybe some advisors on business to protect. Those need to be from the chamber because you can't study the practical, you can only study the theoreticals. And poli-sci, the theoreticals are enough, I believe. Doctrine. Outside of that, I think that's going to help the Russian coalition and the Romanov family. I don't know how much is it involved there, but the Romanov family over there still has a military because he's reinstated the royal family. It's just not public yet, and that doesn't mean it's an overthrow. It just means that it's there as a white flag flying, and that's not bad because it's but their rights to govern the way they want, and their rights to be proud of their culture and heritage. And Romanovs are of culture and heritage. I know that I can't go back, but I know that he has rights to a great grandchild. So we're prepping. I think that's it. Thank you. The big question is what happened to my mother, and I don't like talking about it. I know the CIA file, declares that I have to go into the birth. It's not. Is it declassified yet? Thinking. The procedure is declassified. It was a infusion of two female eggs because my mother's lining of her egg was too thin, and so they used royal family of Egypt, Fauzi of Fuad, to which her egg was bleached, and then they put my mother's egg inside of hers to encase, and then it got fertilized. So I always say my father is King Fuad the first. First I said I was the second, and I said I can't say that because I knew that they liked each other. Yeah, they did. My mother did, and so did he. And I know that he fought, and I was supposed to be raised politically with him and her, but it was a special birth, and so because of Fauzia being like a co-mother, but the infusion caused a cloning instead of a how do I say? In a regular birth, you have system development, and the system reworks the development of the cell blocks, and in that development, it's individualized, individualization, and that means the embryo creates something beautiful with the help of life force, and of course, and light, and that means like my daddy's hair, maybe I kept my daddy's hair, or my mother's breath, or something like that. But in this case, it was a declared cell block infusion, and that means it's incapable of being reworked, and that means whatever comes out, it means it's God's control, and the embryo was placed in the ovary and not into the womb, and when she naturally released it, she needed a host and sperm donor, and then the embryo, which was already determined, snagged the life force because for metabolism, and then it kicks in, and it's supposed to be the first child from would-be lesbian couple, and the big deal was the jealousy between the men she was dating, and the fact that she had a female, and the would be considered rejection of the men because they declared her lesbian, and she had her things and her relationships, and she loved men and she adored women, and I think there's a difference between the two, and I know that that what fueled attacks from the certain men in the group, and that's all I can say.